Happy Friday, second graders. Today, I would like us to go ahead and start with prayer. We'll say the Our Father together, the prayer that the Lord has given us. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. This morning, I just want to go over just a couple things with you. First of all, I want to thank Izzy. She dropped off a wonderful Easter banner in my mailbox. It was a wonderful surprise for Easter, and I thank you for that. I have it hanging in my classroom. And I also want to show you a special picture of Lucy. I hope you can all see this picture of her. She is wearing a special hat, and this hat is the fire chief's hat. Her grandfather, who we see in Mass all the time, her grandfather was the first fire chief in Hoover. And he was the fire chief until he was 80 years old. He worked for a long time doing wonderful things for the city of Hoover. So I wanted to show you that picture since you read about firefighters last week. Lucy's grandfather's he has a fire station number 4 named after him. And I'll look at that. It's the fire station Thomas E. Bradley Station number 4, and that's the fire station over by the Hoover Public Library, and that station's named after Lucy's grandfather. And she even has an uncle that's still a firefighter. Her Uncle Matt is a firefighter. So just want to thank Lucy for sharing that wonderful picture with me and that information. Wow, that's a wonderful legacy to have. Okay. All right, this morning you will be watching a video on St. Francis de Sales. I think I spelled his name wrong, maybe on your calendar, but double check that. Make sure you spell his name correctly. St. Francis de Sales. Okay, his saint feast day is January 24th. He lived in Switzerland. He spent some time in Paris, but he mostly served in Switzerland and Geneva. He's the patron saint of writers, journalists, and the deaf. Okay, let me stand to the side here. So he's the patron saint of writers, journalists, and the deaf. Okay, and St. Francis de Sales was a doctor of the church. Now, what a doctor? He was not a medical doctor. A doctor of the church is someone a saint that is recognized by the church, that did a lot of study on theology, a lot of study on God's Word. He did a lot of writing. He wrote a lot of books that teach about the church and our beliefs. And so he's considered a doctor of the church. And so I just started that. St. Francis de Sales was a doctor of the church, and then you can write some more information on your saint sheet if you choose to do that today. All right, so hopefully you have a great Friday, and you're writing in your language arts journal, you'll be writing a suspenseful story. So I just wanted to go over a little bit about some pre-writing ideas that might help you start thinking about what you're going to write. So the first thing is, I want you to think about, in this story, I want you to think about the beginning of the story, the middle, and the end of the story. Okay, in the beginning, remember that you need to tell us about your characters, use adjectives, describe your character and the setting where the story is taking place. Okay, then you're going to tell us about the problem. What's going on? What is the event in the story? In the middle of the story, you're going to tell what happened to the characters. Okay, that's the suspenseful part. What's the suspenseful event that's happening to your characters? Maybe it's something fun, maybe it's something exciting. And the end of the story is, how are the characters different from the beginning of the story? and the solution. How is it all solved in the end? So remember, in your story, I want you to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And you can do that in your language arts journal on a piece of paper, and then send me a picture of your story. I would love to share some of those stories next week as we get back together. All right, in reading, it's a free choice, free reading. Hopefully, you're reading a good chapter book. And one day next week, I would like you to write me a letter in your reading notebook and tell me what you're reading, your favorite part, what the book is about, any questions that you have or predictions that you have in the story. So think about that. You know how to do that because we have been writing since Christmas back and forth a couple times about your chapter books, and then I'll try to write back to you.
Hey, second grade, another wonderful day of math. Today we are doing 13-4, which is adding and subtracting on a number line. Now this is a little bit different than what we've done before because these are not open number lines. They have numbers on them. So it's a little bit pretty simple, okay? So today should not be very difficult. You should get it pretty easily. All we're doing is just doing another way to add and subtract. So what we're going to be doing is reading these word problems, and we've got to make sure, first of all, do we add or subtract? We're going to be looking for those key words that tell us. And then we're going to be showing how we do that on a number line, okay? So let's start with this first problem up in the green, okay? I'm going to read it, but I want you to read it with me. Amelia walks 18 blocks on Monday and 5 blocks on Tuesday. How many blocks does she walk in all? Use the number line to show how many blocks Amelia walks. Then write an equation to show your work. So first of all, are we going to be adding or are we going to be subtracting with this problem? We are going to be adding. So if you said adding, you are absolutely correct. Now, what I want you to do is take your pencil and I want you to find the key words that you see that show you that you are adding. Okay? Take a second, see if you can find them. For me, this word, this phrase right here, in all, is key. If a problem says in all, then I know for sure that I'm going to be adding because I'm going to be finding the total number. Today we're going to be finding the total number of blocks, okay? So let's go ahead and start by making our equation. Now, we can write our numbers in any order, but I always find that it's easiest to start with my bigger number when I'm adding. So 18 plus 5. Okay, now I don't know it yet, so I'm going to leave that blank. Now, I know that you can probably count on your fingers or figure out what 18 plus 5 is in your head. But remember, the directions said to use the number line. So your job is to show that although you can do it other ways, you have to show that you can use the number line. Okay? I don't want that. All right. So let's go ahead and start on our number line, okay? So I'm always going to start at 0 no matter what, okay? Now, then I'm going to go to this first number. That's the number I'm going to start with. So I'm going to draw a line all the way. Now, on our number line, it shows some of the numbers. But just because it doesn't show every number doesn't mean that those numbers aren't there, okay? The reason why it doesn't show every number is if it had every single number, it would be so jam-packed. It would be so confusing. Now, you are a smart second grader, and you've known how to count since probably you were 3 years old. So if I start at 0, this line, it might not have a number, but I know that the next number is 1. Then it's 2, then 3, then 4, then here is 5. Okay? So when I go to 18, I know that I am going to go 3 past 15, or I know I'm going to be 2 before 20 because I'm smart. I know the order of numbers. I know where 18 is on a number line. So I'm going to draw my line, and then I'm going to draw a line right there to show that that's where I am. Okay, right at 18. 15, 16, 17, 18, right there. All right, now it says that I'm going to add 5. So let's count 5 on our number line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right here. Okay, I'm going to extend my line. Now all I got to do is figure out what this number is. Here's 20, so I'm just going to keep counting from 20. 21, 22. This number is 23. So my answer is 23. Does everybody see that? Seems pretty simple, doesn't it? Not very hard. So let's go ahead and let's go into the next page and let's figure out what I'm going to do next. Okay? Give it a second to load. Okay, now at this point, you can pause this video and then go watch the video online, the visual learning. So take a second, do that. I will be here waiting. And when you're finished, just press play and we'll resume. All right, so hopefully you've watched that video. So now let's do these two problems together so that we're sure that everybody's on the same page. Let's look at, of course, number 1 first, okay? Number 1 is 21 plus 7. Very simple. So they started here at 0 because that's where I always start. And then they made a line to their first number. Just 1 past 20. That would be 21, right? Yeah. So I'm going to trace that line. It's not going to be as straight as theirs, but it's okay. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to be adding 7. So all I'm going to do is just count 7 from this line right here, and I'm going to make my new line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right there. Okay, so they said that that was 28. I'm going to see if they're right. I'm going to start at my closest number and count on to see what this line is. So here's 25, 26, 27, 28. This is correct. Everybody got it? Okay, now I want you to try number 2 on your own. This is subtracting. So once you get to 28, you're going to go backwards 14. Whew. All right, give it a try. All right, everyone about ready? Take another second. Okay, here we go. Let's check it, even if you're not quite finished. So you should have started at 0 right there. Now you're going to go to your first number because that's where we're going to start with our subtracting. So I'm going to go all the way. I'm going to find 28 on my number line. I know that it's in between 25 and 30. So I'm going to start here at 25. Go 26, 27, 28. Found it. Okay. There's my starting line. Now, this problem is subtracting. So I'm not going to keep going on my number line. I'm going to count backwards 14. So I'm going to count backwards like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Right there. Okay, so I started at 28, I counted backwards 14, and I landed right here. Now on my number line, this looks like 1 before 15. So what number is right before 15? 14. The answer is 14. Now remember, I can always check with addition to see if I got my subtraction answer correctly. So if I look at 14 plus 14, let's see what I get. 4 plus 4 is 8. My pen won't work down here. And 1 plus 1 is 2. 28. I'm right. Good job, guys. All right, so for the rest of your math today, it looks like this. I'll show you in a second. It's very, very similar to what we've done on the past 2 pages. This one, you're subtracting. This one, you are adding. Okay? Remember, on this adding, like I told you before, a lot of times I find it easier to start with my bigger number and add my smaller number. That's up to you. And remember, on number 3 on subtraction, you can't switch it like that. You have to start at 80 and subtract 35. Okay, just a heads up. On number 6, this one's kind of tricky, so let me give you just a little heads up. It says show each number below as a length from 0 on the number line. Draw 4 separate arrows. So what you're going to do is, of course, start at 0 always for each one. Then you're going to show how you get to 9 first. Now, I know 9 is 1 before 10, so that's easy. Okay, then I'm going to show 14. I'm going to start at 0 again, and I'm going to go all the way to 14. Went a little over, erase that. Then I'm going to show 24 and 28. So you should have 4 separate lines from 0 to each number. Okay, everything else should be pretty simple. So go ahead, get this done. When you are finished, ask a parent or an older brother or sister if they can check it. If mom or dad are busy and working and all of that, then just put it to the side and have them check it later when they get done. All right, great job today, guys. You're going to do awesome. You are going to rock it on these number lines. Keep up the hard work.